this patient has this right to get you arrested, get you taken to court, and even get you in prison. Yes, it's that serious. Are you a healthcare worker? Are you a nurse? Are you a carer in the trust, in the care home, or in the community? You might want to come close, because today I would like to discuss some mistakes that can not just cost you your job, but can also cost you your COS. Like, these are mistakes that when you call and you're taken to either the board, to NMC, or to the managers, usually they don't want to be very lenient, because these are life-threatening mistakes that can actually cost the life of your patient or your resident. And these are things that are usually written down like in black and white. So you shouldn't be making such mistakes. All right, beautiful people, my name is Ada and welcome to today's channel. If you're seeing my face for the first time, please hit the subscribe button, subscribe to this video, like and share if this content actually brings value for your time. And to all my returning subscribers, I want to say a huge thank you for sticking with us on this channel. Thank you so much. So let's go right into the video for today. Usually there are mistakes that would occur in the hospital, in the care home. Then you just get very lenient reprimand and things like that. Why there are certain mistakes that can actually occur and they don't even want to give you like second chances. These are mistakes that have cost people their jobs. These are mistakes that have taken their COS away. And today we'll be discussing some of these mistakes. At times these are things we're already aware of, but we just tend to either get a little bit careless or just, forget them. At times we actually need somebody to remind us, like pull our ears certain times and tell us, this is wrong, do not do it. Do not do this. Don't get carried away. Don't get too comfortable in your comfort zone that you begin to forget the exact protocol, or you begin to forget the exact policies and just begin to act whichever way you want. On our list for today is what the moving and handling. Yes, in so many places you go and then you will see somebody who has been assessed by the physiotherapist, and they specifically written down that this person is to be assisted by 2 staff. Okay, it's boldly written. It's either his assistance of 1 or assistance of 2, or this person is independent or is mobilizing with a mobility aid and is to be supervised. It's always boldly written. And you go to certain places, you see somebody with assistance of 2, and then you see somebody that is just one single person deciding to flex his muscles and decides to go and do this person all alone. So then how do you explain when this person trips off and fall? Or how do you explain when a bruise is found on this person's body tomorrow? Who is going to be there for you to say, oh, I was with him when we attended to this patient, he didn't do anything wrong, or she didn't do anything wrong? Who is going to be your witness? Nobody. Okay, this is very, very close to home. I know somebody who lost COS, lost job just because of this. In your good way, you're trying to help, okay? You are trying to help and you feel, oh, I can do this person all by myself. And you go ahead to do it. And then the family comes tomorrow and they're like, oh, there are some bruises on my daddy's body. There are some bruises on my mommy's body. Who were the staff who attended to this resident yesterday? And it's just you have no other person, you have no other witness, you have no other alibi. So what happens? He was fired, his COS was withdrawn. These are things that are happening and they'll continue to happen until we learn. Okay, so if for any reason you find yourself in a place and maybe the staff, whoever is in charge, tells you, oh, he's actually assistance of 2, but I think you can manage him yourself, please say no. All right? Yes, say no. I would rather wait for whoever is supposed to come and assist me so we can do it together for your own safety. Okay? The second one on our list today is the salt recommendation. Usually, these residents, when they get old, at times some of them come down with dysphagias and other difficult issues that has to do with their swallowing. Okay, so they are mostly being assessed by the speech and language therapists, and then you find them either being placed on thickened fluid, or being placed on puree diet, or being placed on soft mashed food, different categories. Okay, and these things, whenever they are placed on it, is written specifically either in their folder or on their door. They try to make these information widely known, those who are taking care of this person, because choking is a very serious risk here in the UK. A lot of persons can die from choking. So they try their best to avoid it. That's why they try to let you know that this person is at risk of choking from a certain food or from a certain textured food. So when you find yourself in a new place, don't just begin to give food, okay? Or you see somebody who has been specified that this person is not allowed bread, and then your good mind, you're sharing bread, or maybe you're serving the teas and he's asking you for bread and you're like, oh, let me just give him a little bit. Oh, I don't like the way he's begging me, let me give him. If he eats that bread and he chokes on it, you ought to be blamed. Yes, You are to be blamed. The family will blame you, the organization will blame you, and God help you that he doesn't die from choking. What are you going to explain? Like, how will you begin to defend yourself? What are you going to say? So these are things you should please take your hands off it. Tell this person you are not allowed so bread, and then you try to offer an alternative for what the person is allowed. The third thing we're going to talk about now in the list of mistakes we tend to overlook that can actually cost us our job or cost us a certificate of sponsorship is what? The allergy status. Yes, I know back home in Africa, you hardly find people who are allergic to things. Yes, a lot of persons, like, allergy is not it's not that common as you would have here, because from when I came to this place, it was among the culture shocks I had. They are allergic to everything. They're allergic to wasps. They're allergic to latex. They're allergic to chocolate, egg, fish. Don't even get me started on the medications, on the list of medications that the people are allergic to. Okay, so because of that, you need to be extremely careful. You're serving food or you're try. Always ask the patient, always ask the resident, are you allergic to anything? Because there are times when these allergies are missed during the documentation or during the clerking. You should always try to ask, what are your allergies, in case they were not documented, so you are aware and you can be able to, like, keep the patient safe, because patient safety is one of your sworn allegiance, one of the things you've sworn to do when you're taking care of these people, and you'll be held to them if you don't actually keep to it. And another status, this particular one will not just take you to court. It can also land you in prison. Now I'm talking about the resuscitation status of a patient or a resident. There is something called do not attempt cardiopulmonary resuscitation in a patient. You find them mostly in the care home settings or in the community, or patients who are acutely ill. Okay, that's where you have this DNCPRO status. So you want to actually be sure. What it simply means is that if for any reason this patient stops breathing, you are not allowed to perform CPRO. You are not allowed to perform a chest compression. In your head, I know, normally you find somebody in this situation, the first impulse is you want to help. That is just your humanity in there. You want to help, and then you get on and you begin to do the CPR. If eventually this patient comes out of the situation, and then this patient is going to ask, like, why was the CPR done on me? I have already signed that I do not want to be resuscitated. Who went ahead to resuscitate me? This patient has this right to get you arrested, get you taken to court, and even get you in prison. Yes, it's that serious, because before this document is signed, there's a lot of MDT meetings that are being held by both the patient, the family, the relative, the next of kin. A lot of meetings go on and on and on, and finally this patient comes to the decision or the realization to say, oh yes, if in the event of anything, I do not want to be resuscitated. It is not in your place to go and resuscitate. It is not in your place to even start the resuscitation. That is why you should whenever you find yourself in the place, you need to find out the status of these people. Like, at times it's always kept on the cardex, it's always on the handover. Whenever these people are handed over, it's either say the resource status, yes DNRO, no DNRO. Okay, you need to be very, very aware of this, because you don't want to, in a bid of trying to help, find yourself in the prison. That would be an irony. You really don't want. Very, very important thing is what? Confidentiality. Confidentiality is one of the paramount things in this place as a healthcare worker. When I say confidentiality, I'm talking about you not sharing the details of this patient or the resident with anybody that is not the next of kin of that person. Okay, now in this place there are so many family dramas going on. Are you the next of kin? No. Could you please reach out to the next of kin and find out this information, because this information has already been passed down to the next of kin, or probably ring the person in question, but it is not in my place to give her information to you because you are not the next of kin. Another thing you want to also pay particular attention to is your prescription. Please do not assume. Do not assume. I learned this the hard way. Do not assume. If for any reason you find a prescription that you think is ineligible, you've looked at it, this is looking like 20 or it's looking like 5. I don't understand. It's between 20 and 5. Well, maybe I will go with 5, or maybe I will go with 20. Don't do that. Don't do that. That will not stand in court. Believe me, that will not stand in court. It will not stand in front of the managers. It will not stand in NMC. You don't want to put them in that situation. If you find yourself in a prescription that is not boldly written, it's not legible enough, please call the attention of whoever the prescriber is, or whoever is there at the time as a prescriber. Okay? If it's the doctors, you want to call a doctor on duty, like, please, you need to clarify exactly what this dose is or what this prescription is saying clearly. All right. Or if it's a nurse prescriber, you also want to call the person's attention. Please, can you clarify what this is? Because if you go ahead and give the wrong prescription, it is not going to stand when you say, I thought. The question will always be, since you thought, did you try to find out the right thing? Okay, so please, 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 if you ever come across any prescription you think is ineligible, you're not very certain, you're not 100% if this is 5 or if it's 20 or if it's 10 or if it's 15, call the attention of a prescriber and get that sorted. Please don't put yourself in that situation when you're beginning to think and you ask yourself, oh, was I right or was I wrong? Because then you wish you had actually done it. You wish you had done the right thing. These are little mistakes. Very little mistakes that can actually cost you real. That's what I'll be talking about now before I end. It's about keeping your private matters private. Yes, this especially is for those who work in the care home or those who work in the community. You know something about these residents you have. It's not them actually being nosy. At times they just want, they're trying to engage. They just want a discussion, you know, to help the time pass and things like that. So while you are trying to also engage in this communication, be careful, okay? Be careful of the kind of things you allow yourself say. Be careful of your personal things that you actually put out there. Be careful of your personal life you actually put out there before they are misinterpreted or before there happen to be a miscommunication. Okay, there's been an instance where they are trying to like form communication, and yes, which there's nothing wrong with it. You're actually communicating, but in the process, be careful of what you say. There's this story where this carer was able to, like, you know, she thought she was just communicating with this woman, and she was just sharing her challenges of what is happening right now, how difficult it is to get a rent, or how difficult it is to get an accommodation, how difficult it is to manage with the high cost of living. She was just communicating. She wasn't literally begging for anything. But what happened? It was misinterpreted, and this resident called the family and told the family that every time this carer is bothering her with her personal difficulties in life. Yes, and there was a long letter that was written from this family to the manager about the carer disturbing their mother, about how she's suffering, how there is no house in UK, how the cost of living in UK, like she was bothering her. Now, it was a lot of drama. So that is why you need to be very careful. Communications will come out, yes, they will engage you in discussion. Be careful of what you say, okay? Keep your private matters private. Discuss about the weather, right? There is always something going on with the weather to discuss about. Discuss about the weather. Don't allow yourself to get too deep with discussing or sharing your personal details, because it might be misunderstood and the communication might go southwards, and then you regret ever doing that. If you watch this video to this time, I do hope you've already subscribed and you've liked this channel. I do have more content like this, sharing real life experiences of people here in the UK to help us and stop us from making certain mistakes. I know they say experience is the best teacher, but at times the wise ones learn from other people's mistakes. Okay, and until next time, I'll see you on my next video. Bye bye.